What's up, Quadcopter fans? It's hiringadrone.com, and today I got a video for you. I'm going to be doing a comparison between the Syma X11 Hornet, which is this drone here, and the Udi RC U27 Quadcopter, which is here. So both of them are about the same size. Now this one I took off the prop guards, but you know, if we add it on, it looks much bigger. But first I'll get started with the benefits of this one here. Now the Syma X11 Hornet, this one is considerably cheaper. It has the ability to upgrade to a camera. Everything is enclosed. It has good lights for orientation. It has two here. Has large propellers for lift. Has a battery bay, which you can pull the battery out, and if you have replacements, you can put it in there. You can buy some replacements online. It comes with these bumpers here, already pre-built in to the motor seat case, so when you land it, you can have some nice smooth landings, and you don't have to worry about gluing anything on there, and it gives it a little bit of a cushion. The downside that I noticed with this, it's a little bit slower, but it's good for beginners. And I did notice that whenever I fly around any type of power lines, this thing kind of loses control and has a mind of its own. Most recently, maybe it was the weight distribution of the battery, which I've took out the stopper in here and pushed the battery all the way in, so that way the battery comes into here and it's more proportioned. But what was happening is it was just going like this, and no matter how much you try to put the nose down, it would continue to fly away from you. Could have been wind, could have been power lines. Both times that this happened, it was around the power lines. I did have some weird interference with other drones that I was flying in the area around the power lines, so I'm going to chalk it up to that until the next flight. So price point on this one is around $20. A very, very good drone, very sturdy. I've wrecked this a few times, took a beating, and it's still going. Controller, really nice for $20. Has nice fluid movements, nice and soft, so you can kind of get precise with it. Reminds me a lot of an Xbox controller. You have your trim buttons here, and then you also have the ability to be able to take a photo if you do have the camera board in there. And then on top of here you have your speed buttons, which makes it nice and easy, so you don't have to click them in like most. And then you have your trick button here for your flips. Click that in, push whichever way. Nice easy on off right there, just to hit it. And this one, I believe, if I'm right, it takes 4 AA's, which is quite a bit of battery since the functionality of this controller, there's not a lot to it, but still definitely a really, really nice controller, especially for only about $20. And probably the only other con that I would see with this drone here is that if you look close into the battery bay, any sliding out of that battery, the way that the wires are mounted in there, there's a good chance that you might be able to rip those off of there. So other than that, very pleased with that purchase. And with the RC U27, this one I paid around $49 for, and it's well built. The engines are much more powerful. If you look at the engines, these things really got some lift to them. It actually makes quite a bit of noise. You can take these prop guards off, and if you do, it's going to be roughly around the same size. Underneath you do have your bumpers here, same as on the X11 Hornet. And it has an undercarriage here, so I'm assuming that you can load a camera board in there in order to be able to take pictures. I'm not quite sure what this is just at the moment yet from the few fights that I have, But both of these are very similar as far as the way that they look, especially at night, you know, with the undercarriage here. This one actually lights up white and then red with blue eyes here. So, you know, different color propellers on both of them, so then that way, you know, you can definitely see your orientation. These prop guards do come off. This is fairly new, so I haven't tried it yet. I did notice that these engines or motors do get extremely hot while flying it. This one does come with an extra battery, and this one uses 480s, and you get 2 of them. Couple things that I noticed with this already that I didn't quite like is where the battery bay is, and then where you have your plug to put your power cord in. Nice thing is that the wires will not be hanging out the back like if you have this, and how most of these quadcopters are set up is that when you put the 2 of them together, even though the battery is in the battery bay, you still have these wires out here, and you know, there's a chance that these could get caught in the propeller. Very rare chance, but still could happen. This one, it's built in there, which is nice, but the thing is you know, trying to get this thing in, especially if you're trying to fly at night, you know, it's a little challenging because you're holding the flashlight in your mouth trying to do it. And this one isn't quite all the way lined up, so it's a little tricky, so you got to kind of go up and down and in. And then the battery slides in here, but then again, you know, you don't have a ton of wires exposed here. And this one does fly inverted, so it does 180 degrees inverts, so you can fly it upside down, which is really cool. And you know, you can flip it over the other way and fly it inverted too as well. I did notice this, and it might have been due to a non-full battery charge, but when I was getting closer to the ground, even if I jammed 100% on the acceleration for the lift, I did notice that, you know, it was drifting down. This is a fairly heavy quadcopter with the battery in it, and it's fairly heavy alone. I mean, it's probably about 2 times the weight of the Syma X11, even though they're about the same size. So, you know, these bigger engines on here definitely play a factor. And then, you know, the casing is definitely much more solid. So, but this thing I think can take a good beating. Excellent flying at night. I got a video posted on the channel of me flying this at night. Haven't had a chance to fly it during the day. You know, with it being black, it'll definitely be noticeable during the day, as opposed to the SYMA, where this one does get lost, you know, in the sky, especially if you're trying to shoot video and record this. So this one will stand out much more. And in regards to the controller, now this controller is extremely nice, but again, you know, this quadcopter is about $20 more. It has these nodules on the controller, which make it nice for nice precision. It's about the same feel and touch as the X11 Hornet. You do have your trim buttons here, so I'll turn the controller on. It actually has a little bitty screen here, so you can see your trim when you're adjusting it, up, down. And then you also have your power modes. So you have 3 power modes: low, medium, high. Whereas with the X11 Hornet, you only have 2 power modes. So that's pretty nice to have that. Now you also can see the acceleration here on your throttle on the screen, but this does not light up. It doesn't have a backlight, so you know, it's basically useless whenever you are in the dark. And if you look close enough, you can see that, you know, it'll show you that what your range is here. Quadcopter's off, so you know, you can't really tell. And then it also has, you know, a few other things up here where it shows camera mode, different things like that for taking pictures. Now this button here, if you push it, it does make the quadcopter do the 180 rotation to fly inverted. And if you hit the other one, it goes left. Now this controller was a little bit broken. Something happened to it. I think this was a used quadcopter that they try to pass off as new. I haven't had it very long, so first flight it flew well, but I'm not sure what it was going on with it losing power, not being able to, take off when hitting 100%. It still continued to drift downward. So I'm either thinking that was a loss of battery power. This one does take 4 batteries too as well, but they're AAAs, which is kind of reasonable since you do have, your screen here. But this is definitely a good one. So between the two, for the price, if you don't want to spend $50, especially for a mini, once you get into this pay range, I mean, you can almost spend $15 more and get a tarantula, or if you're on a budget, this is definitely a great one. If you're a starter, definitely a great one too as well. With the prop guards on there, you're not going to take much damage. Definitely the 360 rotations are nice and smooth. You can do your pirouettes. You can fly pretty fast with this little thing. Handles well in the wind. I'll still have to investigate what the issue is when around the power lines, where it just goes straight back and you can't control this. This one didn't seem to have any issues around the power lines. Could be a controller issue, so this one seemed to handle very well, other than powering down. For $50, this is a very, very nice drone for indoor, outdoor flying. But again, it's a little bit more expensive. So for the price point, I would prefer this one here, because once you get into that $50 range, you're not far off from being able to order a tarantula. You might be able to get one of these cheaper in China, but here in the States, if you want it overnight, if you're a drone junkie like me, you got to have it now. This one's about $50, whereas you could get, a full-size tarantula for just a little bit more. So that's the review I have on the two of these. This is the X11 Hornet by SYMA, and this is the Udi RC U27 UFO. Well, that does fly inverted. If this video helped you out in any way, definitely give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more quadcopter videos.